Welcome to HirePresence. We have a great show going today. My guest today is Andrew Sabo. Andrew is the marketing chef. He is also, I could say he speaks a little funny. He tried out for the Gecko, but, well, maybe not. He was born in England. And actually, what's kind of fun is that we were actually born kind of in the same neighborhood. I was also born in England, but I didn't stick around long enough to learn how to speak like the Gecko. But he is the author of called the Foundations of Irresistible Marketing. He also designs programs that make organizations and individuals simply irresistible. And today, we're going to teach you how to be simply irresistible in your next interview. See, this show, HirePresence, is all about taking job seekers to become job finders. Thank you, Andrew, for being on the show.
A delight to be here, Pat.
Well, I know that you created this, and we'll talk about this a little later. You're marketing chef, the Foundations of Irresistible Marketing. But I also want to really get into your story. You created so much success for yourself, making yourself simply irresistible. Now, how did Simply Irresistible and the Marketing Chef even come into being?
Well, I married two of my great passions, which is marketing and cooking together. To a lot of people, marketing is a mystery, whether it's for an organization or your product service offering or yourself. And you know, I believe that we really live now in an era of free agency. We all have to be marketing ourselves all the time. Even if you're working for somebody, you don't wait until you don't have the job to start marketing yourself. You should be constantly marketing yourself. But marketing is, like I said, a mystery to many. And I looked around, actually it was 6 years ago, we're in Italy, we're taking a little break with my family in Tuscany, and I was starting to work on this particular product, and I realized that when I looked at all those marketing experts, and there are thousands, actually tens of, probably hundreds of thousands of marketing experts, gurus, authors, speakers, and so forth. Funnily enough, in the marketing world, there's very few that have a strong, memorable brand.
Right.
So I realized, okay, I have to practice what I preach. So I created a strong, memorable brand with the marketing chef. It's authentic, obviously, to me because of my love and passion for food and cooking. And but also the concepts and I believe metaphors is a very strong way to communicate and simplify complex issues and make them memorable, understandable, transferable, and also fun. So I have a lot of fun with it too.
Well, one of the things that I've run into, and I know if you're watching this, you're going marketing, job seeking, how do those connect? Well, they actually are direct connect. It's just that a lot of times marketing is not a clear, understandable concept. If you say the word, well, I'm in marketing, most of the world, literally, their eyes glaze over, and you might as well say that you're an IT guy.
Yeah, in fact, when I first started speaking, actually I used to hand out a little 3x4 card to the audience prior to me speaking and ask them to give me for them to give me their definition in 3 or 4 words. What is marketing? Well, guess how many responses I got back?
Very few, I'd imagine.
No, I got lots back. But the trouble was, the good news and the bad news was everybody had an opinion on what marketing is. The problem was that I had as many responses as there were people in the room.
Right.
So we didn't have one clear definition. So I like to simplify things, and I believe in 3 words, marketing is everything you do. Marketing is everything you do. In 4 words, marketing is everything you don't do. Because everything you do and everything you don't do sends a message.
That's right.
So therefore, given that definition of marketing, it's not just a formal thing. So for those of the audience who are seeking, looking to find a job, it's not just the explicit things like your resume, the references you have, perhaps you have a blog or something else, but it's also the implicit things. It's sending that handwritten thank you card once you've had an interview. It's putting out your thinking. It's creating a video. After all, I love what HirePresence is doing, because the reality is, what does a paper resume show? It shows us really the past, okay? But a video is showing us in the present, in the moment. And for so many people who are looking to find a job, they're looking for something that is where it's going to show off their potentially their leadership and their communication skills. These are the things that are needed in the 21st century economy. A video shows off your ability to communicate, your ability to how you show yourself off to be a leader way better than a resume does.
Oh, I think so too. And I know that for some people, they, you know, I was told I had a face for radio, but I went and did it anyways, because we're in a video world, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was just speaking at a conference about a month ago, and I asked the audience, so how many of here would rather spend 3 minutes reading a brochure, like a traditional collateral piece, versus watching a 3-minute video? Well, guess what? All but one person of the audience raised their hands. They'd rather watch a 3-minute video. And also video can capture things that you can't do on paper, because it also can capture certain the emotional elements. You know, and part of the basis of irresistible marketing is not just communicating substance, but in order to be compelling and relevant and persuasive, you have to appeal to the heart, mind, and soul. So there must be emotional appeal. That's, again, very hard to do with sort of flat, static pieces. Video, again, shows off but you can bring in music. You can bring in other elements which has emotional appeal as well as the substance.
That's awesome. Well, if you're watching this, you may either be a solopreneur and you're learning how to become more relevant in the marketplace, or you're a job seeker and we're teaching you how to be a job finder. We'll be right back after these messages. Thanks again.
The Weight Loss Surgery Channel is the world's first online television network devoted exclusively to the weight loss surgery community. Find the information, support, and guidance that can keep you on the road to success. The Weight Loss Surgery Channel, here for you on the web 24 hours a day, every day. Visit us at weightlosssurgerychannel.com.
And welcome back to HirePresence. We have a great show going with Andrew Szabo. He is the marketing chef. He's the founder of, the foundations of Irresistible Marketing is the material that he has put together, authored, and it really does teach you the, what does Zig call it, the whole shooting match?
Well, Zig Ziglar calls it the whole shooting match. But you know, these are the foundational elements that we each have to master. Again, whether you talk about being a solopreneur or an entrepreneur or in a business or for yourself, there's, just like in cooking, there's certain foundational things that you need to have in your kitchen. In marketing yourself, there's certain foundational elements that need to be present. We've covered 5. I've had the privilege of having 4 other sales and marketing authors work with me on this. So we covered strategy, which of course is my specialty. Pat, there's publicity with Jeff Crilly, who I understand was a guest on one of your previous shows. Great guy. Referrals. You know, we all have to know how to effectively generate referrals. Then there's networking, and then there's sales with Brian Flanagan, who is one of Zig Ziglar's top speakers.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get Brian on here too.
You must do that. So with these are 5. It's like having you must have olive oil in the kitchen. So these are the foundational elements that we all have to master, irrespective of what you're marketing, yourself, your business, or a product service offering.
That is awesome. Well, when we talk about job seekers becoming job finders, and we're saying we need to become irresistible, simply irresistible. How does someone become simply irresistible?
Well, if you think about becoming irresistible, what makes something, someone, somewhere, some experience irresistible? When you think of something as irresistible, you just have to have it. one of my favorite things that I like to create in the kitchen is actually Italian chocolate truffles. I should have actually made some. I should have brought some for this into the studio.
I'd had
here
something
today.
right there.
That wouldn't have worked well on television. But you know, you bring chocolate truffles. You know, for certain people, they would find that absolutely irresistible. They have to have it. So when something is irresistible, you have to have it. Now, for another person, it may be sushi. For another person, it may be, you know, Chicago deep dish pizza. Nothing wrong with that. Different audiences find different things irresistible. But you have to have it. You want to know more about it. So I created this framework of actually 10 years ago, really, called Irresistible Marketing, which is, if you like, a strategic recipe. And what is a recipe? Think about it. It's simply a series of ingredients in certain proportions and a sequence of actions.
Right.
So I create recipes for organizations to become simply irresistible. And there's a number of components you have to be irresistible. In fact, I'll give it to the audience. The first step to becoming irresistible is to become nude. N-U-D-E. It's an acronym.
Okay.
Don't worry. You don't have to take those off.
I'm sitting there going, that would not be a good picture.
But everybody has to, and it's actually, this is Scott DeGraffenreid, one of my collaborators. He did a study on why something is highly referable. And he studied several different industries and looked at over 300 different variables. It came down to 4 things that makes something highly referable. And in working with Scott, I realized, okay, if those factors make you highly referable, then from a positioning point of view, you must be simply irresistible. So N in the nude acronym, so everybody should be able to remember this, stands for novelty. There needs to be something novel about what you do, okay? Something contextually novel. Obviously, the marketing chef, in a sense, is novel. The idea of bringing marketing and cooking together in food is a novel concept, so there's an element of novelty. U stands for utility or usefulness. There's got to be something useful about what you bring to the table. D stands for dependability. We have to show consistency and dependability. One of my favorite things that when I'm talking about individuals becoming simply irresistible, and nowadays, you know, we all have to have like a LinkedIn profile. But how do you show dependability? Well, get recommendations. All the people that you've got relationships with, go get recommendations. Because what somebody says about us is far more powerful and quite irresistible compared to anything we could ever say about ourselves.
But you know, a lot of people might come back and say, well, I don't know anybody that could give me a referral. And what would you say to that?
That's a great question. But the reality is there's always somebody. I mean, even my son, he's 22 years old, he's at university. You know, he's had some jobs, okay, already, you know, summer jobs. I'm already telling him, get a LinkedIn account and get those recommendations. That internship you did there for, even if it was only 2 months, you worked with somebody there. There's always somebody there that's willing to give a recommendation. And the key is take advantage of it. And it's amazing how people will, if you just ask for help, people will do that. At the beginning of this year, actually, I realized, okay, I've got about 15 so recommendations. So I thought, 2nd of January, I'm going to do something different this year. And I sent out to about 120 people, would you be kind enough to give a recommendation, either for my strategic consulting or my speaking, whatever capacity that we had engaged in. And I got 31 back. I mean, it's just, you know, people are more than willing to help each other out. I mean, that's what it's about nowadays.
Well, and the other thing is just give.
Yeah.
Give recommendations, because then
Excellent,
the way that LinkedIn works is they go, now you want to recommend them?
Yeah.
You know, so that's a great key. As we're kind of closing up this side of it, this section, anything else that will make somebody in the next 30 seconds, what would be another irresistible tip?
Well, remember there's 4 letters. So we talk about novelty, utility, usefulness, dependability. The 4th is economic benefit. It doesn't necessarily have to be financial, but if you can show and demonstrate how you have helped organizations in some way economically. You know, if you've been in sales, then, you know, how did you grow the organization? Or how did you, perhaps you're a CFO. Then it's about, well, did you control costs and so forth. So nude, novelty, utility, dependability, and economic benefit.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This is HirePresence. We'll be right back after these messages.
Yvonne is a sweetheart. She's an awesome person, an awesome inspiration to us all.
Yvonne does not just talk the talk, she walks the walk about what's important in life and what she thinks changes for people.
Yvonne is so positive that she makes me want to be a better me.
Welcome back to HirePresence. My guest today is Andrew Szabo. He is the marketing chef. He's here to literally share with job seekers the secret ingredients, the recipe to becoming simply irresistible to your next potential employer. Thank you, Andrew, for being on the show.
Delighted to be here, Pat.
What are some of the hindrances, some of the ways that people prevent themselves from being irresistible?
That's a fantastic question. Sometimes we are, in fact, more often than not, we are our own worst enemy. And the first really is how you position yourself. Just like with a product or a service or a company, we must position ourselves in the market, and that's all about the NEWD acronym that I gave in the previous segment. The second thing is, I believe every person, every individual, we have a story to tell. And how we tell that story makes all the difference. And let's face it, we all love stories. I used to love reading stories to my kids. We enjoy movies. Movies are stories. But most people's story, their message, is as bland as spam. It needs to be delectable, tasty, right? You want to have it. It needs to be irresistible. So that's the second issue. First issue is poor positioning. Second is a story that is not compelling or relevant or persuasive. And I work with clients to help them, whether it's an organization or an individual, to help them craft, to not only position themselves appropriately or profitably as well, but also to develop that core story that's going to be uniquely theirs. And then the third problem I see is not using the right kind of ingredients. You know, when you're cooking, you bring ingredients together. The power of cooking is the integration of the ingredients. You don't look at the ingredients in a singular fashion. The power is in integrating, just like with truffles. Truffles is very simple to make. It's 4 ingredients: butter, heavy whipping cream, cocoa, and baking chocolate. Okay, that's all it is. Well, any one of those ingredients by themselves is not particularly appealing. Right. But you bring them together, or add a little brandy, of course. Now you've got Italian chocolate truffles. So the key to marketing yourself also is developing that core story that needs to be relevant to your target audience, persuasive, it needs to move the heart, mind, and soul, and needs to be compelling. In other words, I'm compelled to take action. So crafting that story, and then the third element is bringing those ingredients together. So it's not just looking at one ingredient in isolation. So yes, it's great if you have a video resume, but how is that connected perhaps to your LinkedIn? Have you put that on your LinkedIn account, for example? Have you put some of your thinking? Are you writing articles, or are you commenting on other people's blogs? Are you putting yourself out potentially as a thought leader? You know, God's given each of us a brain. Let's use it, but also we need to demonstrate it by sharing our thinking, our experience capital, our knowledge capital, and also our relational capital. So it's using those ingredients together to maximize the power. So again, recapping: positioning for profitability, crafting a story that is compelling, relevant, and persuasive. You don't want to be bland as spam. And then the power of integrating ingredients.
So what are some of the things that, if you were working with somebody, how would you begin the process? Do you have any, I mean, your materials are here, you could talk about them, but also, you know, how else would you lead somebody? Well,
going through the process of positioning is, I believe, unique to each person. So it's going through the elements of novelty, utility, dependability, and how can you best demonstrate it. It's going to be very different to my son who's 22 to somebody who's closer to my age, so who's perhaps 52, okay? But they have a different set of experiences. They may have a different set of skills. And so, and again, how, just like in cooking, it's combining those ingredients together, okay? So every one of us have a unique combination of skills and experience and relationships, and how you bring that together. So it starts with, my process with an individual starts with the positioning, getting them nude, okay? Not literally, of course, N-U-D-E, and then crafting that story, okay? So to move the heart, mind, and soul, you need substance. Your story has to have substance, but it also needs to have emotional appeal. Aristotle talked about it, the principles of rhetoric: logos, pathos, ethos. Because the third is ethos. It's the integrity and the character of the person delivering the message. And in this day, in business, there's unfortunately less and less morals and ethics. So demonstrating that's becoming a novel thing now.
Sure. Well, they say, who you are speaks so loud, most people can hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But words, you mentioned words, and I've seen it where the difference in the right word versus the wrong word can be the difference in power between lightning and a lightning bug.
Yes.
That's something that Zig Ziglar said, and I just went, oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the power is all in the phraseology. Even on the resumes today, a lot of people will sit there and they don't see the value in what they brought to their last employer.
Yeah.
And so they'll use bland words rather than taking the adjectives that are powerful and descriptive and
And tell a story, even a little vignette there of your accomplishments. So you can tell a story in 30 seconds, right? We see that all the time with commercials, right? So the ability to create a story within a short paragraph in your resume can have a huge impact, moving the heart, mind, and soul of the reader.
That is awesome. Well, we're here with Andrew Sabo, the marketing chef, teaching us how to become simply irresistible. This is HirePresence, and we're going to give you more tips right after we hear from our sponsors.
The Weight Loss Surgery Channel is the world's first online television network devoted exclusively to the weight loss surgery community. Find the information, support, and guidance that can keep you on the road to success. The Weight Loss Surgery Channel, here for you on the web 24 hours a day, every day. Visit us at weightlosssurgerychannel.com.
Welcome back to HirePresence. We have a great show going. I have Andrew Sabo, the marketing chef. He's teaching us how to become simply irresistible. If you're a job seeker looking to be a job finder, then you need to listen to everything that Andrew's saying. Andrew, I want to go right into action steps. What is one thing somebody could do right now that can begin to take them on the road to simply being simply irresistible?
I'm glad you asked that, because I'm a big believer, you can have all the information in the world. You can take this CD set, you can take everything I've said, wonderful information. But transformation is the application of information. You've got to take action. Just like in cooking, you've got to get messy, roll up your sleeves. So we talked earlier on about positioning and crafting your story. One of the things that it's hard sometimes for us to see ourselves. So what makes us novel? What's useful about what we do, dependable, and what are the economic benefits? One of the easiest ways to determine that is not to look at yourself. And maybe you have a good idea of your strengths. So things like strengths finders and doing different kinds of evaluations. But one of the best ways, and when I work with clients, one of the first things I do, whether it's an individual or an organization, is I go ask others. Because others can see us much more objectively than we can about ourselves. So do a little research. Go ask 12, 20 people. So what makes me novel? What's novel about what I do? And being able to distinguish not what I do, but also how I did it. That's where the novelty and the usefulness and how did I demonstrate dependability or consistency in what I did. It's amazing what other people will tell us about ourselves that we can't see about ourselves. It's like the proverbial goldfish swimming through the water, and to say describe the water it swims in. It can't, because it just swims in it. Just like us, but somebody from the outside can see with objectivity.
One of the things that I would encourage is that they ask people that are in positions of authority in their life, though. Because a lot of times, if I asked my sister or brother or, somebody like that, what they thought about me, what's novel about me, well, they may come up with a different answer. They may say nothing, because they don't see you the way that others that are in authority. Would you agree with that?
I would actually do both, because again, there's things that my wife sees about me that I don't see. Okay,
yeah.
And she's been with me for over 25 years, so she definitely has got a strong perspective. So I suggest doing both. Working or asking that question from people in authority, because they have a particular perspective. It's like, think about like a mountain. Okay, we want to climb this mountain. All right. And we need, how do we best climb the mountain? The mountain is a metaphor here. If you put 4 people around a physical mountain, around 4 points of the compass, north, south, east, west, and say, describe the mountain, they're going to describe something that looks very different from this side versus this side. So the perspectives of those people who have worked in the past with you is going to be different to perhaps our family, to our friends, to people who've also worked for us. So I suggest not only going up, but also have those people who've been our teammates and associates, have them give perspectives.
That's good. That's good. How would someone connect to you, Andrew?
Well, my website is very simple, themarketingchef.com, themarketingchef.com, and that's probably the easiest way. There's several ways you can connect with me through the website. One can also follow me on Twitter, which is Marketing Chef, just Marketing Chef. That's an easy way to follow me. Or connect me, just search on Facebook. You can just put in The Marketing Chef, and I have a page there, or Andrew Sabo. In fact, just Google me. I mean, I believe in practicing what you preach, even though when you put that in, there's 2.3 million Andrew Sabos. You'll find that there's several page 1 and page 2 on Google as Andrew Sabo.
I would not have expected there would be 2.
Well, actually, if you translate Sabo literally, it means tailor.
Really?
Yeah, so there's a lot of tailors in the world, there's a lot of Sabos in the world, and I'm also up against 2 other Andrew Sabos. One's a prominent physician internist in the United States, and another one is a wealth manager in Connecticut. So they're getting published, but I've beat them all out now. I dominate now page 1 through practicing what I preach, which is creating a core story that's irresistible and using the ingredients, including video, writing articles, using the social media. So it's actually been a mix, a good mix of ingredients where I created my marketing source to put myself on page 1.
So a job seeker should use things like social media and place themselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, one of the first things that I think people will do, I think the paper resume, my personal opinion here, but I think the paper resume is going to disappear within 2 or 3 years. And the first thing that people are going to do is they're going to Google your name. And here's the good news and the bad news. You can be somebody if you're on page 1 of Google. Anybody can be for somebody if they have marketed themselves appropriately, if they've made themselves irresistible using the strategies of irresistible marketing.
That is really good. Well, I do want to bring out your material here.
Thank you.
And just say, you know, he's got tools in here to help you become simply irresistible. Tell me again about this.
Yeah, and actually there's 5 foundational ingredients we cover, which is strategy, publicity, referrals, networking, and sales. Those are 5 foundational ingredients. But not only can this transform you or your organization, but one of the reasons these other authors got involved with me is that for each of these sets, and by the way, this is available to the viewers here. It's normally $125. I'm offering it for $89. Just put in the promo code FOTMC. TMC is the marketing chef, friends of the marketing chef. That's how you can remember it. But each one of these sets provides 240 meals for orphans in Africa through a ministry called Children's Hope Chest, which is I'm a big supporter of. So
That's great.
It's going to be good for you and good for others too.
That's great. Thanks for being with us here. This is Pat Dewar. We're with HirePresence. Next week we've got an excellent show coming up that'll deal more with giving you tips, tools, and techniques to give you take you from job seeking to job finding. Thanks again. We'll talk to you next week.